Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Neca Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter action figure. This is pretty much a re-release from the Hannibal Lecter they released, 20 years ago. He's in an Inmate outfit and has a Gurney, and it looks to be a fantastic release with a couple of extras. I got this at Walmart today, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see on the front, Silence of the Lambs logo. The Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter action figure. One side of the package, Silence of the Lambs. Other side, same thing. At the back, here he is posed up, looking fantastic. At the bottom, there's the barcode, if that helps anybody. This is one of Neca's ultimate figures. Window box packaging. On the inside flap, here he is posed up. And then, here he is looking almost exactly the same. We have a Gurney, and it looks like a total of 4 heads. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. He has 4 different heads, and then you can actually take the figure off the Gurney or the Dolly. At least you could with the original version, and I imagine you can do the same with this. Before I load all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs, played by Anthony Hopkins. It's a fantastic horror film, very suspenseful. Probably wouldn't have quite the impact if it was released today. This is a re-release of a figure that Neca released probably 20-some years ago. And I have the original version. It's fantastic. The Dolly is very fragile. Mine is broken in a couple places. I hope this one is made a little bit more sturdy, but we'll find out shortly. Now, it's a great figure, even though it's more of a statue. He doesn't move at all. Okay, maybe it's not a great figure. It's kind of a crappy figure, but it's a good background piece. And the fact that you take him off the Gurney there really sells the figure. You can put a different figure on there, like the Arkham Asylum Joker or Victor Zsasz. It's a great accessory alone, worth the price. And having this guy with a sort of mask on, it's a great background character for Arkham Asylum. I'm very, very pleased with the original and very happy they re-released him. So let's take a closer look. Like I said, this is Anthony Hopkins, and I'll tell you, the face sculpt looks fantastic. They did a good job on the eyes and the brow. With the mask, it totally sells it. Now, the mask is permanent on this guy, which is different. The original version, it was removable, and I think I prefer it to be removable, but you do have 4 different heads to sort of make up for it. Now he's on top of this Dolly or Gurney, whatever you want to call it, and it has a little bit of articulation. You can sort of move the wheels and fold it up. It's very fragile. It feels very similar to the old one. Hopefully, this one won't break on me. The other one did, but still functions. It's just delicate and has a couple of sort of damaged pieces. This looks to be exactly the same, so just be very careful with it. Now, there's a strap here, and you can see it has little pegs. It's not fully hooked in, and you can actually take the figure off. Now, the strap seems to be permanently attached to him, which also seems different than the original. This is sort of a rubbery thing, and there's nothing down there. You'll be able to slide him out of here, leave that one on. This will come off with him. You know what? Let's go ahead and just try that out. Very, very gentle. Okay, interesting. This has what looks like little clips in the front, and it feels like it's permanently attached to him again. That kind of sucks. So you can get the guy off. Straps are stuck to the front and to the bottom. Yeah, I could rip them off, but I imagine there's, I don't know if it's just glue or if it's actually sculpted into there. And that gives us the Gurney. There's nothing to attach him at top, but really nothing at the bottom either. And then you can take your own rubber bands or chains or whatever you want. But it's really cool to have this. You can move a fridge or an Inmate. And this guy here, like I said, face sculpt is excellent. The straps actually kind of sucks. You really need to heat up and take these things off, because then you could have him in the background as a prisoner, but with those on, it just looks stupid. The sculpting detail is fantastic, but there's pretty much 0 articulation. Yeah, the head's on a ball joint can kind of roam around. That is it. But if you like Inmate or prisoner action figures, which I do, that's one of my specialties. This guy's for you. If you want a super articulated figure to break out of the prison, this guy is not for you. It's a good background piece. And then, here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Even though the figure is very limited with what you can do with it, this is right up my alley. Really like this figure, really like the release, really like the outfit, the orange jumpsuit, the straitjacket, the gurney, the sort of cannibal muzzle type thing. It is perfect for an Arkham Asylum inmate. So let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start with his heads. He has a total of 4 different heads with varying expressions. Here he is with his first head. This one has the most normal expression, and the likeness to Anthony Hopkins is spot on. And here's his second head. This one has a smiley expression, like he just said something clever or deceitful to Clarice. Here's his third head. This one has sort of an angry expression. Maybe he's calling her out, found out about her lies, about his arrangement to go to a different prison. Or maybe he's just about to feed. And here's his fourth and final head. This one has the sort of cannibal mask or muzzle. Likeness is great. Mask looks great. Just an excellent sculpt and paint job all around. And here's a look at the original's face and head sculpt, which is also good. Although I think they did maybe a better job by releasing 4 different heads instead of the removable mask. I do like the feature of the mask is removable because you could have it on, you could take it off, it could be a prop you're holding in the action figure's hands, etc. And then here's the original version with the mask off. It looks great, although I feel like the new one is maybe just a little bit better. Paint job just sort of captures Anthony Hopkins a little more. Now let's look at his dolly. I called it Gurney a couple times, but I don't think it's the right word. That's more of like a stretcher type item. I don't know, dolly seems a little bit too generic. I imagine there's a specific term for something like this to transport mental patients, etc. Anyway, you have a little padding where the head goes. And the thing is mostly made of metal. Of course, it's not actually made of metal, it's plastic, and it's pretty fragile. At the bottom there, we have a place where you can scoop him up, stand his feet on there, and be helpful to move furniture. The wheels actually move, both the front and the back. Now this part goes up, and the last one, I had some stuff break, like the sort of corners here, little pegs. It stays in place, but it's barely holding together. This one feels maybe a little better, but I also haven't messed it up yet, so here's the original version next to the new one. Now they're essentially the same thing. There's a couple differences. The paint job on the old one seems a little better. Look at the wheels, for example. The base here is silver, base here is black. Now the back, mine does still sort of function. I'm having a little trouble pushing those things up. It's like it's stuck. I don't want to force it. It's all sort of very fragile feeling. You can see this piece up here. It's a little bit sort of disconnected where it should be. Kind of push it back forward. And no, it just doesn't really want to do or stay where it's supposed to. And this part up here, some of the pegs have sort of broken. It doesn't want to stay in place. You can kind of see here where it's not attached properly. This part here, some of the little side pegs have broken off. Just a lesson, be more careful with the new one. It looks good, and I am ecstatic about having 2 of these things in my collection. Also on the original one, we have this sort of rubbery restraint for him, and it wraps around. You stick the figure inside of here. It does have some little sort of pegs you can take apart, but it's not permanently attached to him. On the newer one, it doesn't have that bottom part. And the older one, at the top part, it has the back part of his strap here, and the front part is molded onto the figure, and this one, the full thing is on the figure. So, some minor differences, but either way, either one can function with or without the figure, and that is a huge selling point of this set. And now to look at the differences and similarities between the 2 figures. And the paint job is considerably different, which I appreciate. I hate when they re-release stuff, and you get both of them and they look exactly the same. It's kind of like, what's the point? These are noticeably different. So, first of all, their heads. Obviously, this guy has a removable mask. This guy does not, but man, look at those eyes. It just looks so damn good. They both have this strap fully sculpted. His has little holes to sort of add the dolly into, and his does not. I don't know which one I like better. This one looks better by itself with just a little thing across, although it would look even better without it. Him, I might be able to take it off. I'm a little hesitant to do that. I imagine it's sculpted into there just like this guy. But this has the extra straps at the back, which you can sort of pull around or strap into something else entirely. Either one can actually work pretty good as a background character without the Gurney or with the Dolly. Now this guy has a much darker straitjacket. This guy has pretty much a white version. Little strap over their crotch. Sculpt is the same on the pants. You can see the exact same sculpting lines and wrinkles. So I imagine if I took this off, it's just simply glued onto there. They have the restraints on the feet. I like them. I like them both, and I'm happy they're a little bit different. And then here are both these Hannibal Lecter figures on their corresponding dollies. Of course, we have a little bit of paint jobs on their outfit. This guy's strap is totally sculpted into him, and his is sort of a rubber piece on top. They both wrap around the entire dolly. And then the bottom piece, and I could probably adjust it so they're a similar height. This one is sort of, I guess, glued to the figure. This one, not so much. Overall, very nice prisoners. Not only can you take Hannibal Lecter off of the dolly, but you can put some other action figures inside of it. Here's a look at the Arkham Asylum Joker, just like the beginning of that video game. And here's a look at Victor Zsasz in that dolly. Very appropriate for a murderer like him. Now to check out his height. When he's leaned back on the dolly, from bottom to the top, probably about 6.9 inches tall. And if you lean forward, standing straight up, about 7.1 inches tall. And now for his articulation, which is the worst part about this figure, because it's pretty much a statue. On this new one, he has a ball joint in the neck. Can rotate around, can look forward and back. Does give him a good amount of personality, but that is absolutely all you can do with the figure. Yes, you can take the figure off the dolly, put him on, and the dolly itself has the tiniest bit of articulation as well. It can sort of fold up, but that is it. This is more of a display piece than an action figure, but the truth is, if you have an action figure that's in this situation, in a straitjacket, chained up to a dolly, he's probably not going to move all that much anyway. It's a really good background Arkham inmate or prisoner. The doctors approach Hannibal Lecter. They explain he's being transferred to another prison as long as he cooperates. Several police officers and doctors escort Hannibal Lecter. They take transferring him very seriously. Here's a look at Hannibal Lecter beating 2 police officers in a pretty brutal scene from Silence of the Lambs. Once he's finished, he just listens to his classical music, emotionless, like it didn't affect him at all. Now let's check him out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other Hannibal Lecter and Anthony Hopkins figures. Here's this new release of Hannibal Lecter, next to the original one from about 20 years ago. And here he is, next to the prison escape Hannibal Lecter figure. This is the re-release that Neca just released. I never got the original of this one. He's pre-posed in a way that makes him hard to be a very good background character. Then, with the Diamond Select Toys Westworld Robert Ford figure. And now let's check him out next to some of the figures from those action scenes. Here he is with the doctors. On the left, we have a Neca Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Professor Perry. And on the right, a DC Direct Arkham Origins Dr. Harley Quinzel. And here he is with some Neca Terminator T-1000 police officers. On the left, we have the one from Terminator Genesis and Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the Ultimate versions. And on the right, 2 more of those figures with different heads. Those are from some Diamond Select Star Trek Enterprise figures. Now let's check them out next to some other prisoner or inmate type figures. And that's exactly why I got this figure to use to add to my Arkham Asylum type settings, different prisons. I collect police officers, prisoners, inmates, that sort of stuff. Here's this Neca Hannibal Lecter next to a McFarlane Spawn clown. This guy's on a similar type dolly, has a similar type muzzle on his head, and has clown makeup. So is a gray Joker or Joker henchman in Arkham Asylum. And here he is next to a DC Direct Arkham Asylum Joker in a straitjacket. Now this is based off the comics, not the video game. Then, next to a Mayfix Jared Leto Joker from the Suicide Squad. He's in a straitjacket and Arkham pants. Next, with a few different Killer Croc figures, These guys all have their orange prison jump pants on, or at least what's left of them. And now, next to King Shark in prison attire, here's Hannibal, next to a Gorilla Grodd in a black cape prisoner outfit. And here he is, next to a DC Direct Mr. Zaz in his prison attire and shackles. Then, next to a custom Calendar Man in his prison outfit. Next, with a couple of custom Joker thugs or henchmen in prison outfits. And now, with 6 different McFarlane, Color Tops, Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon figures. He's in this sort of dirty prisoner type outfit, and they have the big A on the front, which to me works good for Arkham Asylum. Did some head swaps, got a bunch of prisoners. Here's Mr. Lecter, next to a couple of custom Blackgate prisoners. And here he is, next to a couple of Neca Borderlands Psycho figures. Then, with a couple of McFarlane Borderlands Psycho figures. Next, with a couple of pre-posed 6-inch Borderlands characters. And now, with a couple of McFarlane Borderlands Krieg figures, giving us a pretty large collection of Borderlands Psychos and Inmates. And now, with a bunch of Jazzwares AEW Inmates, each one of the upcoming figures says Inmate on the front of their shirt, and in the back tells what prison they're from. Here are a bunch of different guys from Hager El Reno prison. As you can see, one of them's an actual release, and did some head swaps for the others. Each of these guys has a prisoner outfit, Hager El Reno prison. And here, with some Chris Jericho Inmate figures. Each one of these guys is from Jericho Stony Mountain Penitentiary. Then, with some Guevara Inmate figures. These guys are all from Guevara, Harris County Corrections. Next, with some Santana Inmate figures. Santana, Rikers Island. And now, some Ortiz Inmate figures. Ortiz from Rikers Island. Put all of those together, and you have a ton of inmates. Hell, you have a whole prison. And the guys with the white face paint, great for Joker thugs or henchmen. Here's Hannibal, next to a few Mattel wrestling figures. These guys were in sort of tall jumpsuits. Kind of gave me prisoner vibes. Still need a head swap one of them. Then, next to a DC Direct, Lex Luthor in a prison jumpsuit. At least that's what it looks like to me. Next, with a couple of Diamond Select Toys, Gotham Barbara Keene figures. These guys are in actual Arkham attire. And now, with a bunch of different Mattel DC Multiverse Batman vs Superman Lex Luthor figures. Head swapped for a bunch of prisoner inmates. Most of them say Bel Rev on the back of their prison outfits. Here's Hannibal, next to a couple of Mezco Sons of Anarchy prisoners. And with a couple of Mezco Breaking Bad figures. These guys are in orange hazmat suits, but I think it works pretty good for orange prison jumpsuits as well. And finally, with a couple of Diamond Select Buffy the Vampire Slayer gentlemen, sort of insane guys hanging around them. They're in straight jackets, and these guys remind me of all the crazies that were in the video game Arkham Asylum. And while not prisoners, I use these Mattel Jurassic Park Hammond figures as Arkham guards or doctors with a white outfit, kind of like lab technicians or doctors. Gotta have doctors as well as inmates if you're gonna have Arkham Asylum. So overall, this is a really good looking Hannibal Lecter figure. But the truth is, it's barely an action figure. It's more of a background display piece or a sort of statue. It has literally one point of articulation at the neck. But I'll tell you what, I love this guy. I think he is awesome. He's right up my alley. I love inmate figures, I love world building, I love army building, and this guy helps with all of those things. As you can see, I have quite a few inmates in my collection, and this guy will definitely add to them. And you can use this dolly for so many things, like Joker, Mr. Zaz, moving a refrigerator. The possibilities are almost endless. I like the fact that they're a little bit different for the previous release, and I like the fact that both these guys can come off the dolly, and you can use them for whatever you want. And he makes for a great horror figure with the rest of your Neca horror stuff, Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs. He also makes for a great background inmate in Arkham Asylum. Rating this guy is very difficult. My first thought is 8 out of 10, but the truth is he probably doesn't deserve that because it's barely an action figure. Still, I like him a lot. I think he looks great. They capture the likeness fantastically. The dolly is great. The paint job is fantastic. Of course, he can't move. It would be awesome if they made an ultimate version which would have combined this one and the other one, but That's just a dream. Like I said, first off, 8 out of 10, but I don't think he deserves that, so I'm going to drop it down to a 7, but I really, really like this figure. I highly recommend him. If you think you want him, you will enjoy him. But just know, he barely moves at all. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.